Hello everyone. Today I'm going to go over how to use Scrapcode from the Dark Mechanicus in your games of Warhammer 40k Crusade. In the lore of Warhammer 40,000 and also in the Horus Heresy, you have the Dark Mechanicum. And the Dark Mechanicum is also well known for using Scrapcode. Code that gets in, think of it as like computer viruses that get in and cause horrific effects. One of the best examples would be, for those of you who have read Know No Fear, the Battle of Kelth, Scrapcode bringing down the whole defense network and enabling the word bearers to really launch a vicious strike against the Ultramarines. Now, as a Chaos player, we have Warp Smiths and we have Lord Discordants, but we don't really have a mechanism for Scrapcode in games of Warhammer 40,000. However, in Crusade, we have the means of doing just kind of ridiculous things. It's more like a RPG role-playing game than it is a tabletop game. And it lets you really explore and play with things. So I'm going to go over just a concept I had for a technovirus that I wanted my Alpha Legion to use, where that concept came from, and then what mechanics I'm going to use using various Crusade elements, both from the Mechanicus book as well as the Rift War supplement, and show how you add that together in order to create your own little effect or campaign goal that a player can play for in order to create special effects, one-time effects, or campaign effects in Crusade. The idea for my particular Scrapcode and its effect comes from one of my favorite series from when I was a teenager, Space Above and Beyond. In that series, there are a bunch of robots known as silicates, artificial humans, that were basically at one point helpers to humanity, servants and the like, until a program director got mad that he wasn't getting credit and put in a new virus that went through the whole community, and the virus basically said, take a chance, kill them all. And I thought with the Mechanicum being run by servitors, a virus like this could be a lot of fun to unleash if you were on the side of evil. In fact, if I were to attack an Imperial world, what better way than to have the thousands of servitors on that world suddenly turn on the rest of the human population, much like a zombie virus, and have them attack and just go to town. And that's the effect I'm going to try to recreate using Crusade rules, and as well as setting up a campaign goal. One important note before we get started, though, is that this has no effect on the tabletop. I will not actually be able to control another person's servitors. I'm not writing rules like that. It's more of a campaign goal to help advance a storyline, which is what playing Crusade is all about. The first place I'm going to turn for tools in a toolbox in order to create and have a mechanism to do this campaign goal is Warzone Nockmed Rift War. The Arcane Rituals section of the book for Thousand Suns is a wonderful treasure trove. It's going to give me the basic ideas on what I'm going to need in order to do this. So a Scrapcode, being as it's Dark Mechanicum, is part demonic and part Mechanicus, thus Dark Mechanicus. So I think what we're going to use is souls to fuel the Scrapcode, as well as we're probably going to need ritual incantations. So I'm going to take those two factors that are presented here and start using them. I am therefore going to use their Bind Their Souls and Uncover Lost Tomes agendas in order to recover the necessary materials in order to create and enact my Scrapcode. I'm going to use these right out of the Rift War supplement. I'm then going to use the Archetype treasures from the Adeptus Mechanicus book in order to fulfill the second part of the Dark Ritual, basically needing the technical know-how and parts in order to create the Scrapcode. I am then going to use the Tech Scavengers agenda from the Mechanicus book, in which I have to destroy a vehicle, and then I have to do the Tech Scavenge action on top of the wrecked marker where I have destroyed the vehicle in order to try to get a component for Archetype. After recovering the Archetype, I have to roll off and see what type of Archetype part I got. In this case, for using a scrap code, I'm going to need a power source, so I have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it. And I'm only going to require one power source in order to conduct a scrap code ritual. I am then going to have to spend a requisition point in order to actually assemble, instead of this case archetype, in order to create the scrap code. And we're going to use a rhythm of 5 souls and 5 forbidden knowledge, arcane scriptures, and 1 archetype source in order to create this dark ritual. This whole process will probably take a minimum of 16 games or between 5 and 6 actual months playing time for me to get the scrap code that is then going to be unleashed on a planet, and I can, story-wise, have a planet's servitors go nuts on the population, enabling me to do whatever it is I wish to do. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please hit like and subscribe down below. And don't forget, Crusade is about messing with different rules. It is more a role-playing game with a DM toolkit built into each codex than it is a tabletop game at this point. And you should actually have fun with it. Remember, it's a collaboration. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.